Hello everyone, it's Mariners Fanatic back in another YouTube video. Today's video, we're going to be covering my thoughts on the Seattle Mariners 2022 trade deadline, and I'll be giving my grade and just talking about all the moves we made. Right off the bat, I'll give us a grade for the trade deadline. My grade for us is going to be a B minus. I think it was solid. It was good. I was happy with it, but I was not ecstatic. I was hoping we would get one more impact bat, and that did not happen. The fact that it didn't happen is not necessarily the end of the world or a deal breaker per se, but I was hoping we would get a little bit more offense, as that has been a struggle at times this year. However, pitching was a main focus and something that needed an upgrade. Even though our pitching has been doing well since the winning streak started and we've been playing better, overall, the pitching and the rotation needed more help. I think in my trade needs and trade targets video, I accurately gave a prediction of what Jerry would go after. He always surprises with who he gets specifically, but I think what he was targeting was about what I was expecting. This trade deadline, Jerry went with the impact pitcher instead of an impact hitter, which is totally fine because, as you guys know, I've been talking about him for the past 2 years probably, that I've wanted Luis Castillo on this team. And now we have him, and I could not be more excited. I think Castillo is going to be great for us. Obviously, he already had his first start against the Yankees, pitched very well, 6 2/3, 3 runs, got a little tired at the end with the 2-run homer versus Kyle Higashioka, but overall, a very good start against the Yankees in the Bronx. And that is what we need when it comes to playoff baseball time in Seattle. We need a guy who can go into the big city and have a big moment. And Castillo gets to pitch against New York again in this next week. So we'll see if he can make it 2 good starts in a row. But we needed another ace. Ray's had a couple bad starts against the Astros in a row. Overall, he has recovered his season quite a bit, but he has shown that he's vulnerable. And Jerry needed to go out and get another big frontline guy, and he did exactly that. Now, everyone is a little bit frustrated over the prospects we gave up, trading Noelvi Marte, Edwin Arroyo, Andrew Moore, and Levi Stout. And frankly, there's only one guy that I was a little bit upset about, and that was Edwin Arroyo. I feel like giving up Noelvi and Arroyo in the same deal was a little bit of an overpay. However, it had to be done. Castillo was more hotly contested than Soto was on the market. You had to give up the best to get him. He was the top starting pitcher in the market, and we're competing with the likes of the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Padres, and whoever else were after him. Now, is Marte going to be a really good player eventually at some point? Yes, but he still would not have been a Mariner for at least another year and a half to 2 years. Marte in a Mariners uniform wouldn't be until probably 2024 and maybe even 2025, depending on his development. Same thing with Arroyo. Stout was a little bit closer in Double A, but he wasn't having a particularly great season, and I personally was never really very high on him. Even though he was ranked as our number 5 prospect, realistically for me, he was probably about 10 or 11. Andrew Moore, he was pitching very well as a reliever. Ultimately, he's probably going to be solid, but I don't really think we gave up too much there. Giving up 2 top 100 prospects in the same trade is definitely tough, but if we are able to extend Castillo and he pitches for us in the playoffs, that makes all the difference. In my mind, in this trade deadline, we only gave up 2 big names in Marte and Arroyo. So overall, the Castillo trade itself is a B plus. It's good, but not great. It's a very good move, but it does hurt just a tiny bit. The other 3 players we acquired, Jake Lamb from the Dodgers, a former UW player, local kid. I honestly hadn't looked too much into the move itself, but I know he'd been doing well for the Dodgers in limited playing time. He's just a depth piece to give us a little bit more major league experience, so we're not having to bring up guys like Jack Larson from Double A when somebody gets hurt. And having a guy like Jake Lamb, who has MLB experience and has a little bit of an impact power bat, is helpful for the bench and just in general the 26-man roster. Next, talking about Matthew Boyd. Everybody was wanting Matthew Boyd a few years ago when his price tag was at an all-time high for prospects. Personally, I've never been high on Boyd, and I'm still not particularly high on him, but he did have a solid year last year, and we didn't really give up a whole lot for him. Also included in this trade was Kurt Casali. Boyd and Casali both coming from the Giants in exchange for Everett Aqua Sox catcher Andy Thomas and Michael, can't say his last name because it's really long, but he was a pitcher. Both of them were doing solid minor leaguers, but whether or not they'll pan out at the major league level is to be seen in a few years down the road. Just like Arroyo and Marte and all the other guys, we're not going to see them for a couple more years, and until we get there, we won't truly know whether it's a bad trade or not. Boyd, an experienced arm, Casali, an experienced catcher, and of course Jake Lamb in the other deal, an experienced player as well. In interviews and stuff I've read, it looks like Boyd is being worked up through a rehab assignment. They're looking to use him out of the pen, but it works. He replaces Tommy Milone. Milone, veteran guy, good depth piece, but not necessarily maybe the best for playoffs. Hopefully Boyd can work himself up and be a solid piece for us in the back end of that bullpen. Kurt Casali hits lefties well. Overall, as a hitter, he's just league average, but decent hitter at the catching position, and more importantly, very solid veteran backstop to spell Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh has been playing very well this year, and I'm very excited and happy about it, but he can't be playing every day just yet. It's still his first season, and you got to give him some breaks. Casali will be able to do just that. Also, Casali has experience with Luis Castillo. I've seen some stats saying that Luis Castillo pitches even better when he has Casali as his catcher than anybody else. So that's also encouraging. In general, Jerry is playing 4D chess, in my opinion. People are going to complain about Jerry and the moves we make and everything. Everybody's going to complain about something. Overall, I think Jerry has been doing a very solid job. I will only be concerned about Jerry if we don't see an impact bat added in the offseason. But that's still a ways away. And for now, he's made the moves that needed to be made to hopefully get this team into the playoffs for the first time since 2001. A little bit more explanation on my grade of a B minus is, like I said, I was hoping to get an impact bat. Ian Happ would have been nice. And then I know I said to stay away from Contreras, but if we got a package deal with Happ and Contreras, Contreras was just a rental anyways, so that would have been something that would have been nice to target. But there really weren't a whole lot of impact bats on the market, so can't blame Jerry too much, as the only big name on the market really would have been Juan Soto, and maybe Brandon Drury, although, like I said, I wasn't excited about him either. Jerry did the right thing. He went for the frontline starting pitcher, and if we're able to work out an extension with Castillo, then we're in a really good spot too. But yeah, B minus grade for the deadline. I like what we did, but they aren't flashy big moves except for the Castillo move. And I think we could have done a little bit more, but we'll see how it all plays out. So those are my thoughts on the trade deadline for the Seattle Mariners. I like what we did. Thought we could have done a little bit more, but I'm still excited where we're going, and I think this team is going to make the playoffs. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. See you guys in the next one. Let's get ready for the rest of the Mariners baseball this season. Hopefully, playoff baseball. Mariners Fanatic out.